All right, here we go. We are here. We are on a roll. All our regulars are here. Almost all of our regulars. Welcome, Carol. I see you just came on the line. So we are here for Finish Strong Friday, the Finish Strong Friday success training. So welcome, everybody. I don't have to introduce you guys to what's going on here because you've all been here before. And I think we'll probably pick up some stragglers along the way. Those A-style people who know that being late is being on time versus the blueprints who say being early is being late. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, we'll come back and talk about personality training again at some point, but we've had a fun time with that. So for the benefit of those people who will be watching this on a recording, I got to do all the niceties and all the, the normal stuff here. So my name is Jeffrey Howard, and you can call me Jeff. I'm a VIP mentor here at 8-Figure Dream Lifestyle, and been involved with this business for a little over a year and a half. And along with my mentor, who is not in his chair right there, that empty seat is my business partner, Eric Jacobson. And we have done very well in this industry. We have actually just formalized a partnership. Like this week, it's getting real this week because we set up our new company. We got our new banking all set up. We're like switching all our accounts over. We're combining our back offices. We're doing all kinds of fun stuff now. It's getting real. So yeah, but it's been a fun ride working together here. We've known each other for a little over 3 years, and for about 2.5 of those years, we've been accountability partners and just kind of keeping ourselves on track. And we just realized we were pretty much running the same track anyway. We're doing the same things. We're doing them the same way. We see eye to eye. We both have a parallel technical skills. We both complement each other in certain areas, but we also cross over in a lot of areas. So like I like to say, instead of 1 + 1 being 2, in this case, 1 + 1 = 11. So we got to exponentially increase our productivity by combining forces and making that official. So we've got all that in place now, and we're pretty excited about that because working together, our combined incomes are approaching $700,000 from this particular business model. We have more than one that we do, but this has been our big cash flow, cash cow, I guess we would call it. Inside joke, our cash cow. So by way of background, again, Eric, everybody here knows us, but for the benefit of the people who will be watching the recording later, again, gave my background. Business-wise, I've been involved with basically the work from home or work from anywhere type of business model structure for about 22 years, a little over 22 years. So just celebrated my 22nd anniversary in May of firing my last boss, as I was mentioning to Matt, who was sharing with us his experience of being auditioned, as he put it, for jury duty for a murder trial. I used to work for lawyers for 9 years, and that was the boss that I fired, the last boss that I fired. So I was happy to do that. I'll tell you, there's nothing, maybe arguably nothing more satisfying than firing a law firm that used to be your boss because you're now going to go out and earn a 6-figure income, which is what I did that year. I'm also a single dad. Love being a parent. Glad that 3 of my 4 boys are out of the house now. Only one left at home, just a teenager, 16, almost 17 years old. I am engaged to a wonderful woman who is also involved with the home-based business industry, network marketing. She's a rock star in her world too. And because of that, she was able to sell her restaurant last year. And finally, after 12 years of us living in different towns, raising our kids, she's sending her youngest daughter off to college next month. And she will be empty nested, and we will be finally in the same town. So it's been a long time. And before I move on here, I want to say welcome to David. First time we've been able to see you, David. Can you hear us okay? Welcome. So we were just congratulating Anne for her VIP sale. We'll congratulate you for being our most recent VIP. So congratulations for joining our team. This is our Finish Strong Friday call. We're just doing our introductions here, and we're going to get started here. So welcome to the team, David, and I'm really glad to be working with you. So I'm Jeff. We talked on the phone. You know me. I'm going to toss it over to my business partner here, Eric, let him do some introductions, and then we're going to get into the topic of the day, which is how to create your ultimate dream life. Anybody interested in that?
Yeah.
Over to you, buddy.
All right. So my name is Eric Jacobson. I live in St. Paul, Minnesota. I am business partners with Jeff Howard, and I am married, been married for 28 years coming up here next month, and have a 16-year-old or a 15-year-old son at home. And so we're been involved with Eight Figure here since December of 2016. And to say it has, changed my life would be a complete understatement. It's, changed everything about my life. I was really in a tough spot when I was looking at this, and it's kind of turned around everything. It's been a phenomenal blessing in my life. And my background is in mortgage and real estate primarily, but it's funny because I was thinking about just something you had said a little bit ago, Jeff, and it got me thinking I remember when I got out of high school, growing up, my family did not have that much money. They didn't have, but I had a lot of friends that had money. All my friends that had money had a lake place. And so I spent a lot of time at my friends' lake places growing up. And most of my friends whose parents had a lot of money were business owners. And so my 17, 18-year-old mind at the time of when it was time to go to college, my thought process was, I'm not interested in going to college because I want to own my own business. Okay. And if a college professor was really, really good at owning their own business, they wouldn't be a college professor. They'd be owning their own business. And so that was my 17, 18-year-old mind. And so I thought I wasn't that serious about college, and it showed because I wanted to own my own thing. So here I'm, our topic today is your ultimate dream life. It's the life that I dreamt of when I was a kid growing up, because I wanted to have and do the things that we're able to have and do today. So it's exciting. So let's just jump right into the training. And I just thought of that now, and I thought I'd introduce myself just a little bit differently. Now looking back at it, of course, I'm advising my son to go to college because really I robbed myself of a lot of fun. Also,
you missed a few parties back then.
Of also, getting away and kind of finding yourself and in all those things, whatever. I found myself eventually, but not at college.
Well, everybody finds their path, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, all right, cool. Before we get started, let me just do a little bit of housekeeping. We've got a relatively small group here. Everybody must be taking Friday afternoon off here today, which is fine because everybody knows that the recordings are available when we're done. Everybody's muted at the moment, but we do like to consider these trainings to be interactive. It's not designed to be a lecture. It's designed to be interactive. So feel free at any point. You can unmute yourself. Right now I have everybody except Eric and I'm muted. And you can unmute yourself and comment. We have a rule around here, and that's there's no such thing as a stupid question, and there's no such thing as an experience that doesn't have value. So a lot of people do tend to jump in and talk about their own personal experiences on these particular trainings especially. And, we feel like everybody here is either a mentor in training. And so don't hesitate to come out, even if it takes a little vulnerability to be able to do that. At our last event in Denver, we talked about that a lot, about tapping into the vulnerable side, like the scary part or the not so comfortable part about your story, and how that's the thing that people can relate to the most. So, when you start doing, for example, video marketing or social media marketing, sharing in those things that you think, well, maybe people don't want to hear about that or don't need to hear about that. There's somebody out there who really does need to connect with that aspect of your story. It's really easy to come up here and say, oh yeah, Eric and I've been working in this business for a little over 18 months. We're coming up on $700,000. And, that's all the pretty stuff, but like the stuff that allowed us to be able to get to where we could do something like that.
20 years of struggle.
That's the transformational stuff. Yeah. And you know what? Honestly, it still happens.
Yeah.
It's like we're going to talk about this a lot today. You start your day fresh every single day. You wipe the slate clean, you start new, and you start fresh. A lot of times when I'm doing my 90-day game plan calls on Mondays, I use the analogy, when we talk about the 90-day strategy for this business, I use, first thing I say is be here in 90 days, right? That's like the best. People ask us all the time, what's the best advice that you can give us in this business in your first 90 days? That's it. Be here in 90 days and then do the consistent activity that you need to over that period of time so that you can get the consistent results that you need. And I use the analogy of a fitness program or a weight loss program. You need to know where you are now to be able to measure where you're going to be in 90 days and then the next 90 days and then the next 90 days after that. I'll give you a real-time example. I've always been a big fan of, in the fitness arena, of home fitness things. I've never been a gym rat. I used to do it for a while, and I just got to the point where I didn't like to drag myself to the gym, so I do other things. And I got into Beachbody, and you guys probably know what Beachbody is. It's I think it's like the #1 home fitness company in the world, right? T25, P90X. If you don't know Beachbody, you've probably seen some of the commercials on TV. So anyway, that's how I got in the best shape of my life. And when you talk about like this 90-day process, the important thing is that you do understand where you are now. And there's a reason they have you take a picture of yourself at the beginning of those programs, because on the first day, and actually the second day, like the first day you go out, you're changing your eating plan a bit. You're going out and you're doing a workout that you're not used to doing. And on the second day, you're not necessarily getting the results immediately, right? In fact, chances are on the second day, you feel worse than you did on the first day. Guess what? I just started a new one 2 days ago. First day, I went out there. The first workout was awesome. I felt really good to get back in that zone. Last night nearly freaking killed me, the one I did yesterday. I mean, I swear, I'm over here, I'm doing the modifications with the gal who can't keep up. I'm like, man, I just, what's going on here, right? And I've been in like really tip-top shape before, and I'm fit now, but this is a whole new workout. It's a whole new deal, right? And that's what we're going to talk about today, is like that, like changing your life on a day-to-day basis. Now, here's what I expect to happen. In 30 days, when I'm done with the first cycle of this, I'm expecting I'm going to have lost about 10 pounds. I'm going to be a little bit more ripped around the middle, which is the reason that I'm doing this. But I'm not going to see that tomorrow, and I'm not going to see that a week from now, but I'll start to see it in a couple of weeks. And then in 30 days, I'm going to look at myself in the mirror, and I'm going to look at that picture. I'm going to go, now we're talking, I'm making some progress. Okay. So that's kind of the fundamentals. That's at the core of what we're going to talk about today, is how to create your ultimate dream life. And it starts with creating your day. There's something that Eric, I don't want to steal his thunder, something he always talks about. There's a phrase that he uses that I love, and it is, how you start.
If you can master your morning, you can master your day. If you can master your day, you can master your life. Because changing your life, a lot of times when people think, okay, creating my ultimate dream life, they think like someday, it's like someday island, right? It's someday I'll, someday I'll do this, someday I'll do that. When this happens, then I'll be able to do that. When this happens, then I'll be able to do that. And so what Jeff and I, our purpose of today's training is to make you realize that creating your ultimate dream life, a lot of it doesn't cost you anything, and you can start today. And today can be, so today can be the first day of your ultimate dream life, and and just starting to fit the puzzle pieces together. So instead of thinking, when I make X dollars, $100,000, I'm going to do this. When I make $1 million, I'm going to do this. And until then, you're like living in kind of a living hell, so to speak. I mean, of like that you're not happy with what your life is like. And so our goal today is just to get you to realize there's a lot you can do right now today to create your ultimate dream life and get that process started.
Absolutely. And, I do want to share something with you guys, especially those of you who are new. Aside from being interactive, this training I just noticed that there was a comment in the chat. This is not a strategic training. This isn't a business training per se. The Finish Strong Fridays are designed to be mindset training. And the reason we focus on mindset is that 90% that's my estimated number. That's what I believe to be true. So therefore it's true for me, right? 90% of success or quote unquote failure is happening right here in your head, right? It is. The stories that you tell yourself, it's the way that you present yourself in the world on the days that aren't so awesome. It is, look, everybody's great on good days, right? That's easy. It's easy to be really good on your really good days. The challenge is to step up and be really good on the days that throw you a curveball. And those days happen. They happen to every single person. It doesn't matter how much money you make. It doesn't matter what kind of shape you're in. It doesn't matter, your circumstances don't matter. They're going to be curveballs even when you feel like you're living your best life, right? So it's really important that we focus on the mindset aspect, because that will get you through, right? Mindset will get you through things that you didn't think that you could overcome. And if you're not in the right frame of mind, if you're not starting your routines off right in the day, if you're not creating that ultimate dream life day by day, then the littlest thing is going to come along and it can trip you up and you're going to fall on your face. And it's okay, though. You can fall on your face, but you have to get back up. And that's what mindset will do for you. With
all that being said, I believe we could probably pretty quickly answer that question. Since it's there. Yeah. Just go ahead. So here's my opinion, Danette, and Jeff is probably going to answer the exact same as this, but I believe it's vitally important to increase your sales in your business, and because there's a full integration now that's happening with Scipio. It's Scipio. It's Skipio, and actually so it's $99 to get started per month, and then there's a full integration with 8-figure funnel. So that actually, what you're going to want to do is reach out to your onboarder, whoever onboarded you originally, and they can help you get Scipio set up correctly so that it fully integrates with your marketing funnel. Okay.
And for anybody who doesn't know what we're talking about, Scipio is a texting platform. It's an automated texting platform. And texting is certainly one of the premier ways of engaging with your prospects, because people are so responsive to text messages. So that's probably all we need to say about that.
Yeah, that's good. That's good enough. So let's move on.
Yeah, you want to launch into
So creating your ultimate dream life. So again, I already kind of alluded to this, but it's not some day in the future. Like, if you think about it, we don't live a life, right? What we do is we live a day. And to be more accurate, we actually live kind of moment by moment. Your day kind of plays out as you go along. But you only have today. Today's the only, you can't do anything about yesterday. Yesterday's gone. The future never comes, right? The future never comes, because guess what? In the future, like tomorrow, when tomorrow is here, that's going to be today, right? So today is the day that you need to be focused on. And so how do you make sure that today you play big? You're the best version of yourself in that day. And there's a process that I like to go through. And I learned this actually back in 2002. I was introduced to this concept by a guy named Todd Duncan, and he wrote a book called Life by Design. I've got 4 copies of it right here. Matter of fact, at the end of this call,
here we go.
What's that?
I was going to say, here we go.
At the end of this call, I'm gonna send a copy of this to somebody, okay, so that you can have it. It's a small little book. It's called Life by Design, Todd Duncan, and it's basically the process of it is designed to kind of walk you through creating your ideal life, creating your ultimate dream life on a day-to-day basis, and by basically thinking about and focusing and creating your ideal day. So, Jeff, you have anything you want to add to that?
Actually, the only thing I would like to add, and then let's just start to get into the process, is that, and I just want to reiterate what you said. It's like how you start your day is going to really determine what happens for the rest of your day. One of the things that Eric and I got into a while back, it's been a little over a year now that we started this, is we read a book called The Miracle Morning. And, we'd both done different types of routines for having some discipline in the morning, getting things started. But this one just was really simple. It was easy. It was trackable. We've done specific trainings on the Miracle Morning on these training calls on Fridays before. And if you haven't gone through that book or the audio book of it and downloaded the support documentation, I would strongly encourage you to do that. You can go to tmmbook.com. Eric, you might want to type that in the chat for me real quick.
Yeah, sure.
tmmbook.com, and you can get the support materials. And the book is available on Audible. It just really gives you a formula, like a plan, a blueprint, if you will, for mapping out how you get your day going. And everything has changed for us since we started doing this. Literally, we have transformed our lives, but we've also transformed our business relationship separately and now together. I can't say enough what this process can do, and it starts with just being really clear about what your day looks like. And I used the term taking a snapshot before, and I think it's really important that you do that. And I do that in the form of a journal, and I strongly recommend that you do the same, that you keep a journal with, and you write in it daily. That's going to be your snapshot. You want to really sit down at the end of this training today and say, okay, this is where I am. And we'll talk about this is where I want to be, and we're going to talk about being grateful for the things that you have now and how that stuff will progress. But it's all going to start with being really clear and giving yourself a record of that ideal day. So, know what your day looks like right down to just the finest detail, right? We talk about visualization a lot on these trainings, and you may love that concept. You may dismiss that concept. And truth is that if you're dismissing it, you're missing a key element of attracting what you want into your life. And you're also missing a key element of actually enjoying the life that you have now. A few weeks ago, or maybe it was a couple of months ago, I don't know how long it's been, but I did a training called Being in the Zone. And in the Being in the Zone training, I talked about this process of visualization. And for anybody who thinks that visualization is just some airy-fairy woo-woo thing, let me just share with you that this is a concept, this is a process that people, that pro athletes use, Olympic athletes use. In fact, one of the most famous studies where they actually looked at this scientifically, they did a study at the University of Chicago, I believe it was, University of Chicago. And you may have heard this before. You've certainly heard it if you've been on these trainings before. But basically, the result of the study is the determination was not only does a visualized experience condition the human brain, but it also programs the human body. So you actually get physical results from mental processes, okay? Physical results from mental processes. So what they did is they did the study at the University of Chicago. They took the basketball team and divided them into 3 sections, all right, to 3 groups. And the first basketball players were tested the first thing they did is they tested everybody. They tested on their free throw proficiency. So they did a pretty,
based on free throws. Yeah,
this is all based on shooting free throws in basketball. Okay, so they did their blind test to determine where they were to start, and then they randomly assigned individuals into 3 groups. So they didn't assign people based on skill set, how many, whatever. They didn't, what their percentages were, any of that stuff, right? So the first group, once they divide them into 3, they did this for 30 days. The first group went into the gym every day for an hour and practiced physically. Okay. Second group also went to the gym, but instead of actually physically practicing, they just lay down on the gym floor and visualize themselves successfully shooting free throws. So they visualize themselves physically going through the motion of shooting the free throws. The third group did nothing. They were basically instructed to just forget about basketball altogether. Don't even touch a basketball. Don't even think about it. So at the end of the 30 days, the same 3 groups were tested again to determine what their proficiency was in free throws. And so how much did they improve? Well, the players who hadn't practiced at all they showed no improvement. I mean, obviously, you would expect that, right? That makes sense. In fact, most of the people in that group actually exhibited a drop in proficiency. And again, you might expect that. If you don't practice, if you don't do your consistent activity daily over time, you're going to lose your touch. You lose your zone. You lose the magic, right? So, and that same thing applies to us as we use these business strategies that we've been teaching you, throughout the Friday trainings, throughout the strategy trainings. Now, the group who had physically practiced for 1 hour showed a performance increase of 24%. But here's where things get really interesting, because the group that only did the visualization process, did no physical practice at all, just by imagining themselves successfully shooting the free throws, they improved by 23%. Okay? So that's 23%. That's only 1% less than the people who physically practiced. Don't you think that's pretty astounding?
That's amazing.
I mean, it shows great potential on what we can do with our minds. Your mind, we again, on these trainings, we maybe even emphasize it. I don't believe so, because I'm just I'm fascinated with what the brain can do and what we can accomplish just by using our minds. And we talk about it a lot here. But I mean, they say we talked about this a little bit last week. They say we only use, a fraction. I mean, depending on who you ask, 5%, 6%, 10% max of our brain's capacity. Imagine what happens if you can just increase that by a couple of percentage points. It's huge. So with regard to, visualizing, I just want to make a really strong case for anybody who's really feels they need the science and thinks this might be some airy fairy thing. You really need to understand this is a real thing. This is something that is perpetually used by Olympic athletes. You visualize the bobsled course. You visualize the ski jump. You visualize over and over and over in your mind. All right. Same thing can apply here. Visualize having conversations with great prospects. Visualize what's the day you want to, the day you want to have. Visualize what house do you want to live in? What car do you want to drive? What do you want to be doing for your physical health? Visualize what your body looks like when you're doing that. I don't know what your things are, but you get clear about it in your mind. Go ahead.
Yeah. So when you're thinking about your ideal day, what you want to do is actually, it's in my mind, it starts the night before and that goes back to the miracle morning, visualizing yourself getting the perfect amount of rest or the perfect amount of rest so that you're going to be completely energetic and ready to go when you wake up. You're going to wake up. And then, so from that point that you wake up, what the exercise we'd like you to do is actually write down what your ideal day looks like to the most minute things. What does your ideal day, your ultimate dream day, what does that look like? So it starts out with, okay, and you can start the process right now. You can start writing this stuff down that comes to you. So so as you open your eyes, what is around you? Where are you? Where are you located? Is it in your current bedroom, or is it possibly in a different location? Is it in a different what would be the ideal thing for you to wake up? What does the room look like around you? Who's the person next to you? Who is, or is there not anybody next to you? What is the view like when you open your eyes, you look out the window? What is the view like that you're looking at? Are you looking over water? Are you looking over the mountains? Are you looking over your land? What are you looking over a river or a lake, or or is it in the city? What's ideal for you? And start writing down what your ultimate dream day would look like, starting with first thing you wake up, and be very, very detailed with what you're writing down as far as that dream day. Now, a lot of the thing, as far as the location where you're located, the time, think of the time of the day what time is it when you're waking up ultimately for you? What are you going to do first thing when you wake up? What are you going to do? Like, are you going to get up? Are you going to go work out? Are you going to read right away? Are you going to go through your miracle morning routine? Is that the first thing that you're going to do in that day? What are those things? And start writing down what your ultimate dream day would look like. Now, some of those things you're not going to be able to change, right? And some of those things aren't changeable right now. But a lot of the things, as you start writing down what your ultimate dream day is, you're going to find that there's many of the things in that you're doing within that day that you absolutely can start doing today. Maybe not today, but maybe tomorrow morning. And like as far as planning out your day, structuring your day. So for instance, my day, every single day I focus, really the first half of my day is focused on personal development, working out, having my body be the best it possibly can be in the best version of myself physically. I do reading, I do meditation, I do silence, I do affirmations, I do visualizations. This is all part of the miracle morning process. You're probably getting that by now. And then I write in my journal. And those are things that I do every day. I set aside that first half of the day, not really half of the day, probably from when I first wake up until at least 10 a.m. is all personal development stuff. That's all when I fit that part in my day, just to make sure that my mind, body, spirit is as high a level as it can be to be able to meet the challenges of that day. Jeff, do you have anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, the only thing I want to add, and that's all really awesome stuff. The way we do this isn't necessarily the way you need to do it.
Yeah.
Some people have different work schedules, different life schedules. You may like to sleep in the morning. This isn't about a right way or a wrong way. It's about a way, but what we're focusing on or what we want to emphasize is that you do it. All right. So my morning is very similar to Eric's, only he gets up at the crack of crack and I can't even deal with that. Right. So, I mean, those of you know my history, like I was in the music business back in the day. I've always had a late night schedule. I still have a hard time getting to sleep anytime before midnight, sometimes even 1 a.m. And yet, I needed to start getting up earlier to do this process. So I still get up earlier than I used to because I wanted to make room for it. And I do something very similar. First thing I do, though, is I jump in the shower because that wakes me up. I don't do my workout first thing in the morning. That's something I usually do in the evening. I used to do my hikes first thing in the morning when I dropped off my son at school. Now that he's driving, I get to sleep a little bit longer. I get to make an adjustment because, hey, baby, that's my ultimate dream life, right? Get up and take my son to school in the morning and not have to get up early at all. So you can make these adjustments based on what your needs are. But other than that, my process is very similar. So I get up, shower. First thing I do is a meditation. I do some brain work. I actually have a brain supplements, some what we call nootropics that I take to start to get my brain into gear. So my meditation then kicks those in. And then I do my visualization, which I use a vision board. I actually have pictures of the things that I'm wanting to create in my life. And then I have another visualization process that I do along with that. And then next step is the same thing, journal. So I journal. Sometimes it's just like how I'm feeling about things. Sometimes it's very strategic. It's the ideas like we talked about last week, that writing down as many ideas about how to solve a problem as possible. Sometimes it's that. And then, I get into nutrition and then I'm starting to move into my day. And then I end my day, usually not the very end of the day, but at some point after I've gone through all the busy part of the day, I like to wind down either by taking a hike or doing a workout because that then grounds me again, gets me a physical flow happening, and then it gives me energy to continue this process into the evening. And then I'll do another visualization before I go to bed at night. And the reason why it's really important to do this, again, from a brain science perspective, to do your visualization processes in the morning and in the evening, if possible, is that your subconscious mind is the most susceptible to suggestion at those times. So right before you go to sleep, you can implant these ideas, these visions, these affirmations in the form of questions like we've talked about. And then you go to sleep on that and your subconscious goes to work on that stuff for you. It's pretty cool how your brain works, right? And then you wake up, do it again, and you're still in that sort of dreamy state when you first wake up. So somewhere in that first, 30 minutes or whatever, you're implanting that stuff again. So it's really, really powerful.
So there's not any right or wrong answers really for creating your ideal day, but the key is to write it down. To write, what does it look like, and try to as you're writing it down, think of like moment by moment what you're going to be doing, being as detailed as you can. And then once you've structured all that, then once you know what that looks like, what you want it to be, then you can look at, okay, how much what can I implement now? What can I implement right now? What can I put into my life right now? Whatever you can put into your life right now, and you'll be amazed if you actually write it out and think about, there might be a lot that you can actually incorporate, and you can start living your ideal ultimate dream life now. You might not have a lot of it is just kind of what you're doing and how you're doing it, and your intensity level with those things that you can actually implement right now. Some of the things, like if you want to live on the ocean, you don't live on the ocean right now. Well, then that's something that that's going to be part of your visualization of this is what I want to manifest in my life long term, or this is what I want to manifest in my life right now. See, even the words, when I say long term, all of a sudden it gives my mind permission to say, oh yeah, someday, that's back on Someday Isle, right? That's
Someday Isle, yeah.
So
someday I'll do this, someday I'll do that. I want to make one more comment. I just want to emphasize this because I think the biggest challenge a lot of people have is getting into a routine. And I want to really emphasize the concept of routine. I know for some people that doesn't sound like fun to be in a routine. So we're saying there's no right or wrong way to do this, but find your way and stick with that. Like, be disciplined about the way you do it. Don't try to change it up every single day. The way you will reprogram your brain, really literally refire the synaptic connections in your brain, is to do the same things over and over and over. Find out what the right things are for you and do that in sequence. And until you feel like it's important to make a change from that, do just that. So, in other words, like I said, don't try to do it one way, this day, and the next day do it a different way. And okay, well, at least I got through all the stuff, because then you're always sort of grasping. Your brain's always reaching and grasping for how we're going to get through all the stuff. If you just have a system, if you have a blueprint for doing it, boom, 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 you get it done. You do it your way, but do it in a disciplined way. It's really important to emphasize that.
Yeah. So once you have it all, drawn out, then start visualizing. Visualize. What does it look like? What does it smell like? What does it taste like? What does it feel like? Visualize that ideal in explicit detail. Just sit with it, breathe with it, dream about it, take it in, and that's the thing you need to be doing first thing in the morning, end of the day. Just like Jeff said, visualizing what it is that you want. Then you want to start paying attention and really, look at the record of your visualization. So what things immediately pop out at you? It's like, like I said, I did this exercise the first time when I read this book and I went through this process. That was back in 2002. I don't have my notes and the details that I wrote down from that, but I would say that my life right now is extremely close to what I visualized and I wrote down that I wanted my ideal ultimate dream life to be like. I'm living that life today, and I think it's not wasted on me, the fact that I wrote that down back 16 years ago and about what I wanted it to be like, and started, visualizing that process for myself. And now it's manifested in full, this many years later. So.
Yeah, so important to pay attention to what shows up. We talk about that same concept a lot. And there's a reason that we repeat things over and over too. We repeat things in different contexts. We'll do a different training, but it's the same concepts, because really there's no new information here, you guys. There's a process to doing this, and we try to come at it as many different ways as possible so that it lands for as many different people as possible. Sometimes we may say it in a different way, and all of a sudden somebody who's been here 15 calls in a row goes, oh, I get it, and that's what we're looking for. Those light bulb aha moments. Oh, yeah, that's what they've been talking about all along. So just pay attention to what shows up. When you have your visualization in place, you're writing down and visualizing the things that you want to create. Watch what shows up to support that. We talked about this again in a different way last week. You're making that list of those 20 ideas for how to solve a problem. Well, maybe 19 of those ideas were just horrible, ridiculous, right? But one of them was good. And then somewhere along the way during the day, because your brain's still in that mode of going through that process, bam, something just pops and you get this really great idea for how to make that. Like last week, Carol said, I don't remember what your number was, but Carol said something about, I just had this idea for how I could make $500,000 a month or something. I'm just coming up with a number. I don't remember if that was it exactly, but the stuff will show up because you're programming, you're training yourself, you're training your brain for this process to be able to occur. Where right now you may not be in a space where you're able to do that, or you're not allowing yourself to do that. So pay attention to what shows up, and then give yourself permission to have these things. Like, it's okay that I live in that beach house, that I have, it's funny. Yeah. I'll be using an example because we've got David, our new VIP here. David, in an enviable position, has just, sold his successful business, come into this business. He lives in Missouri. I hope you don't mind me sharing all this, Dave, but, he's moving to Florida, beach house, boat on the dock, he's living the dream, baby. So, I imagine, not knowing David very well, but I imagine that he saw this in his mind before it existed as a thing. Like, this was a plan that he had. This was something that he set his mind to, that it was a process he went through. He saw that. He may have even seen the exact, something very close to the exact scenario. I don't know. I mean, Dave, you're welcome to share if you'd like to come out and tell us about that. But I'm just kind of speaking for you based on our conversation. And, how cool is that? That, you will progress along the way. You will land where you want to land if you allow yourself to do it, if you give yourself permission to do it, and if you continually, consistently repeat the processes over and over and over that lead you down that path. Give yourself permission. Let it go, and even shuffle things around. Grow as things shift and move and evolve for you. Change things, evolve things, raise the bar for yourself. That's what we always talk about, raising the bar.
Yep. So, so here's the other thing in this process is, be gentle with yourself. Okay. Some of the things might not be easy. Some of the things might not be instantaneous. You might be a long way from where you're at this moment might be in your mind, a long way from what's your ultimate dream life. You might not be pretty much at it like I am or Jeff is, and that's okay. Just be easy on yourself. Don't use it as another excuse to beat yourself over the head, saying, I'm not making it happen fast enough. See, you're nothing like Jeff. You're nothing like Eric. Your life is not even close to, and it's just, I'm telling you, your self-conscious, your subconscious says these things to yourself. Believe, whether you acknowledge that or not. I mean, and it does me too, and
yeah, guess how we know that, guys? Guess how we know?
Yeah.
It's not.
Self-sabotage is very popular.
I'm sorry, Carol, go ahead.
Self-sabotage is a very popular item.
Yeah. That's an interesting way to put it. It's certainly.
That is what we're working against. And I think if there's one thing I've learned listening to these talks is that you have to disrupt that process with a great big stop sign that says, no, I'm going positive. I'm in a positive direction in my life, and just let go of that negative stuff.
Well, one thing that Jeff does and says to me often, when we're talking, is cancel. That's not the thing. That's not the thought. And cancel and rephrase that thought in your mind, but verbally speak it the way you want it to be. Jeff, do you have an exact example that you want to use? Or?
Oh, and I could probably just, make something up really quickly. Look, I actually, let's use one that kind of triggered for me when you were just saying it. You were talking about, well, I can't be like Jeff and Eric. Well, I would say, yeah, first of all, cancel in terms of the level of success, whatever gauge you're using to decide what that looks like. If that's a thought that comes up for you, you don't have to, the idea isn't for you to be like us. The idea is for you to be the best version of you. That's what we continue to talk about, right?
That's what the world needs.
We need you to be 100%, 110%. We need you to get to 100% and then raise the bar and go 100% more, right? So, I could never be as successful as those guys. Cancel. Of course, I'm just as successful. I've been successful in a lot of different areas. It may not look that way financially right now, but I'm working toward that and I'm continuing to grow. Just reframe it. And awareness is the key. It's always about awareness. Like, you can't do anything about it until you start to catch yourself doing it. So you have to pay attention to what's showing up for you, both good and bad, if you want to call it bad, negative, whatever. Those negative things come up. You have to catch yourself. You have to be aware that, oh my gosh, I just did that again. It happens for me lately, and I go, wow, I can't believe I just said that. It's like I'm aware that I'm surprised that I'm aware. It's like, wait a minute. Why am I going there? Like, that's not how I operate. Why am I going there?
And it happens for everybody. It happens for Jeff. It happens for me. It happens quickly. Because realize that you're on the most primitive level. I'm telling your brain's only job is to keep you from dying today. All right.
Right.
That's what your brain's designed to do. Keep you from dying today on the most primitive level. And like, the easiest way to keep you from dying today is to get you to do nothing. Right? If you do nothing, if you just lay in bed all day, you're probably not going to die. So that's the safest thing to do in your brain. So anything that's new, different, change, those all trigger the fight or flight response in the primitive brain. And so all of this stuff that we're talking about is just to kind of get yourself to do it anyways, and because we all hear those things, all those chatters in our brain also. And then, so it's just to do it anyways.
I'll give you a real-time example. I mentioned earlier about this workout that I did last night. I was really fired up doing the first day because it felt really good and I got nice and sweaty, and it was stuff that wasn't, killing me, because it was like doing I was using muscles that I'm used to using. Last night was totally different. And I literally was halfway through this 46-minute workout. And I'm like, I can't do this. Like, what's going on? I actually can't do this. I said to myself, I can't do this. And the truth is that physically I was wasted already halfway through the workout. But I said, you know what? I'm going to do it. And I even had I'll be totally transparent. I paused it. I sat down, I drank some water. I leaned over so I could breathe again. I let my muscles relax a little bit. I mean, I must have done already like 100 different variations on push-ups in the first 26 minutes. And my arms were like rubber bands, right? And I'm like, but I'm going to get through this. I'm not going to quit. I'm not going to quit, And even though it felt like, and I wrote this in my journal, because all these Beachbody workouts that I've done, I never followed the person who was doing the modification, that wimpy little modification thing. No, man, I was crushing through it. I was like, okay, let's see if I can keep up with the modification girl.
Yeah. I always do modifications.
Yeah,
but
I just started saying, it's okay. It's okay because I haven't done this for a while. It's only day 2. In 2 weeks, I'm going to be a lot stronger. In a month, I'm going to be doing this like the back of my hand. So it scared me a little bit. That's like, why can't I do this? And then I thought, what, all I have to do is just have to finish. I just need to finish. I want to just get through it. So listen, we're running up on a time, at the top of the hour here.
Yeah.
But that kind of leads into what I was just talking about. Start small.
Start small. As you're visualizing what your ultimate dream life is, pick one thing. Okay, pick one thing that you can actually implement into your schedule and start with just one thing. Don't try to change your entire life all at once. Pick one thing. Maybe it's just, an hour of meditation, and my gosh, hour of meditation, 5 minutes.
Yeah. Maybe it's 5 minutes.
I'm telling you, when I started meditating, I'm like a minute, was like a big deal for me and to do that. Or even or even just sitting in silence, for a minute. And it's difficult for people because you're used to, yeah, you got to shut your brain off. And then let yourself have it, right? Go ahead, Jeff.
Oh, I just wanted to circle back around to a concept that we emphasize, particularly in the 90-day game plans, is focus. We call it focus on the dot. DOT is an acronym, DOTT, do one thing today. It's the same idea, right? Focus on the dot. So putting it into the context of getting started with your business here, there's a lot of new things to learn. There's a technical learning curve. There's a lot of stuff that may feel like it's a little overwhelming at first. Well, don't try to do it all. Do one thing. Focus on one thing. Do one thing today, learn a little bit more, execute on that, move forward, execute on the next level, move forward, execute on the next level. In 90 days, you won't even recognize yourself. You'll be like, wow, look at how much I know. So then, 6, let yourself have it. Go ahead.
Let yourself have it, right? So every tomorrow becomes today. Let yourself have a tiny steps towards your vision, and just know that your actions aren't selfish, right? That by taking these actions, you're taking care of yourself. You're opening yourself up to be a better, happier, more supportive you. And this is a gift from you to you. So accept it with joy and gratitude. What gratitude is that's a point. Every time I get to a place in my life where I start to kind of beat myself up on different things, I just get back to gratitude, being grateful for all of the things that are good in my life. Don, you unmuted yourself. Do you have something to add?
I think we just started hearing Don. He was unmuted before.
Okay. All right, cool.
Meet him back up again. All right. And then the last, to kind of wrap this up, really just know, and we've already kind of illustrated this in a couple of different ways, but just know that you're getting closer and closer, step by step, with everything that you do. So with every hour, with every day, with every new, with every execution of your new routine, that you're making progress. And every time you're ready to make a new change, just envision yourself pulling that ideal day a little bit closer. That ultimate dream life, pull it just a little bit closer. So when you're visualizing, make it a little bit more vivid, a little bit more colorful, make it a little bit more in focus. Okay. Back to brain science again, your brain, your subconscious mind in particular, does not know the difference between an emotionally charged, vivid imagination and reality. And if you want proof of that, think back on a time when you had a really, really amazing experience. Maybe it was the day you got married, or maybe it was the day you sold your business, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe it was the day that you, like for me, I literally have an anniversary date. It's May 15th, an anniversary date, 22 years since I fired my boss. Like how good it felt to walk out of that office with my box of stuff from my little cubicle and know that I was not going back there. All right. And when you visualize that moment, you go right into the same place. You go right into that emotional feeling. Even now, as I speak it 22 years later, I still feel it. My arms tingle a little bit. I was so excited. So that just is living actual proof that, that's not an experience, a physical experience I'm having right now. That happened 22 years ago. All I have to do is think about it, and I go through the same emotional process. Right? Your brain does not know the difference between something that's emotionally visualized, and emotion is important. You have to get the emotions in there. What does it feel like? Eric talked about earlier. What does it smell like? What does it taste like? You have that house on the ocean. Breathe in. What does that ocean air smell like? How does it feel going into your lungs? So all these things are going to allow you to continue to pull that vision a little bit closer, make it a little bit more focused, a little tighter, and it's going to get you where you want. So the important thing is you got to let yourself take the time and do the work. Even on the hard days, even if you just feel like some days you're going through the motions of this, that's okay because you're doing it. At the end of that, it feels good to check that stuff off the list. If you're using the Miracle Morning, for example, there's actually a checklist. Check. And I look at it, the last thing I look at before I go to bed at night is like, did I hit everything? And if I missed something, I'm like, I got to put, an X through that one. And it doesn't feel good. I got to do better tomorrow. So just take the time, let yourself do this and let yourself enjoy the process.
Okay, so I said I was going to give you a chance to get this. I'm going to send you a copy of this book. I'm not going to send this to everybody, but whoever would like to get a copy of this book, the first person that puts their address in the comments below, I will send this book to. So whoever sends me their address.
I gotta say something about this.
Go ahead.
Because when you mentioned that the first time, Donette said, "To me, please," and that's like the person who runs to the front of the room, or like when we were in Denver and Myron was doing the thing with the $100 bill. I honestly think that Donette should be the one to get it. But
all right, well, Matt was the first one to get his address in, and Donette, put your address in, Donette. I will send you a copy also. I've got 4 copies sitting here. I will send out 2. I need one for myself. I need one more to be able to give to somebody else. So I'm going to send a copy to Matt. And Donette, if you're still here, type your address in, and so I can. There it is. All right. I've got them. So hold on.
Can you still hear me?
I can hear you fine. Yeah.
That's weird because my visual screen just totally froze.
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay. Well, you better grab those addresses because I can't.
I'm gonna write them down. Hold on.
All right. Cool.
Yeah, Eric. Reading has 2 D's, not 1.
All right. I think it'll get to you either way. But I'll
it's all zip code.
3811.
All right, guys. So before we're pretty well at the place where we're wrapping up. It's the top of the hour. But if anybody has any questions, comments, anything they'd like to add, we're wide open to hearing that before we close out and call it a Finish Strong Friday. #FSF. You have to unmute yourself if you want to talk. And I don't have control because I can't see anybody moving and I'm in a gray screen for some reason.
I can unmute. Here, let me unmute. David probably doesn't know how to do that exactly. So let me unmute David, see if he's got anything to add. Oh, it's not. I don't have controls right now either.
I wish I could.
Awesome.
I wish I could give you controls, but I can't even do that. It's weird that I still have audio.
So what is the book title?
It's called Life by Design.
Okay, thanks.
And it's actually, I don't think it's in print anymore. But I did see there was a copy on Amazon, like 1 copy. Before the event. Conan. All right, I'm writing away here.
Thanks for everything.
Yeah, thanks for coming. Appreciate you guys.
Appreciate you. Have a fantastic weekend.
You too.
We will see you some of you at least on Monday's 90-day game plan call. Otherwise, we'll see you back here next week.
Great information, guys. Y'all have a great weekend.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much. You too.
Hey, Don, I liked your comment about 90. I don't know if you can hear me.
Comment about what?
What did you say is 90 is the new 50?
90's the new 50.
90's the new 50.
I love that.
I think that's perfect for today's idea of.
That's awesome. Yeah. That is awesome.
Yeah, I think so too.
I
Thank
think
you.
the only thing I'm going to be able to do here, Eric, is just close out the whole window.
Yeah, I've got everything I need. I'm good.
All right, guys. Well, I'm going to close it out. Again, have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week. Take care.
Bye.
Thanks for coming. Appreciate you guys.